welcome to another episode of the T Corner. I'm your host, Terrence the Spoken, and I wanted to say Happy New Year to everybody out there, and I hope, so far the new year is going good for you. But yes, today we have a special guest. She has a charity that we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about something real interesting because it's going to deal with something that's coming up next month, and we going to talk about a broad understanding about that very soon. But yes, indeed, I want to introduce y'all Miss Patricia Smith Griffin to the show, y'all. Here we go. 1 minute. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hi, Terrence. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing good.
Is my audio sounding okay?
Oh, yes, ma'am. You coming through real good.
Good.
Well, shoot, you got me up here even checking my side. Shoot, yes, indeed. But, yes, so tell me about this charity that you started and stuff, because I read about your profile a little bit, and I was like, wow, that's very interesting. So yeah, go ahead and tell the audience about the charity.
Well, let me give you just a little background. I am from Dayton, Ohio. My family has been in Dayton, Ohio since 1802. And we have recently launched a podcast, season 1, of the legacy of Charity's children. It begins to tell our family story. Now, the name Charity is the name of our 4th great grandmother, Charity Davis Caesar Brawdy. And it is the story of her life, her father bringing her to the quote unquote free Northwest Territory in 1802. And we are now 12 generations in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. Yes.
And as far as the charity, so let me, because sometimes there is confusion because her name is Charity, but we have started the Charity's Children Project. Okay. Our family has collected archives throughout several generations. And so we want to preserve these archives. We want to share them for African American history and perspectives. And we want to do that through the old castle on the hill. That is formerly there in Dayton, Ohio. We want to resurrect the castle as a multicultural center to be the outlet for the family archives, that many of which date back several generations. We even have a generation manumission papers. So this is this is a resource of African American history and heritage, and we'd like to share it. We'd like to do so in a way that safeguards our family legacy. So often other people tell our African American story, and it is told through that revisionist mindset. The legacy of Charity's children is not going to be that type of storytelling, but rather it is told through the lens of our family history that we have confirmed with historical records, family oral history, family written history, and letters, Terrence, journals, pictures that have been saved for generations.
Oh yeah. See, I'm a writer, so I love hearing stuff like that, cause I like writing a journal and stuff, and just to imagine, like 100 years from now, somebody would know my life story because I wrote it down. You know what I'm saying? And I could actually respect something like that, cause that's history.
I often asked, how is it that we have these things? And it is because exactly what you said. It is because somebody like you knew that their journey was important enough in this generation that it would inspire the next. And so, yes, I have one of the resources for this first season of The Legacy of Charity's Children comes from something that my great-grandmother wrote. This year we will be celebrating her 150th anniversary of her birth. And so the family story, while it is been told, passed down by word of mouth, it's also been written throughout the generations. And things that I thought that I knew about the family, once discovering her handwritten account of Charity Broady's life, was illuminated and sent in a million different research directions.
Yeah. All right, y'all, we're going to take a little short break right now, but we'll be right back. And we're going to listen to some good music brought to you by Mr. Terrence the Spoken. Y'all know I love my music, and you know I love creating it. So enjoy a piece that I created right here, right now, on the T Corner, brought to you by T-Line Beats Production. Enjoy. All right, y'all. We are back. Yes, indeed, man. I'm glad that y'all, here and stuff, man. And look, music is also a part of my blood and stuff. So, with the poetry comes the music. So, yes, that was Blaze Hard that you heard first, and Jam Fam coming in second. But yeah, we're gonna shoot you right back over to the interview with Miss Patricia Griffin, man, because it's going to be tight. It's going to be right. And yes, keep that podcast going on T Corner, all right? All right, later, y'all.
Terrence, we are often asked, how is it that we have these things? And it is because exactly what you said. It is because somebody like you knew that their journey was important enough in this generation that it would inspire the next. And so, yes, I have one of the resources for this first season of the Legacy of Charity's Children comes from something that my great-grandmother wrote. This year, we will be celebrating her 150th anniversary of her birth. And so the family story, while it has been told, passed down by word of mouth, it's also been written throughout the generations. And things that I thought that I knew about the family, once discovering her handwritten account of Charity Broady's life, was illuminated and sent in a million different research directions.
Yeah. It's a lot of us that need to have that connection to our past, so that we know so much how to handle the future and stuff. But sometimes the wisdom was always held in the past. If we just review it and it will be like, you know what? This happened way back when, but
exactly.
That can actually happen. That can actually work for today too.
Exactly. Exactly. That is something that I say as well, that torches are not extinguished. They are passed. And so what each generation is required to do is to build upon what the prior generation has done. So we take their struggle, we take their successes and their failures, and we augment it for today's world and today's society. And then, Terrence, we just keep up the fight.
Exactly. That kind of leads me into like the next one to talk to you about, which was something that like when I reached out to your peoples, and they gave me a list of things, and I saw one that was like this. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to talk about this. And that was actually why Black History is more than just a month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, I've been saying this for years. I'm like, yo, Black History is more than just a month. You can't cram everything that Black Americans have done in just a month. Same thing with Hispanics. You can't cram everything that Hispanics done did for America in just a month. It's like, but for African Americans, like, it's like when February comes around, we just give them the highlights, and we be wanting to get more deep into it, but by the time we realize that Black history is over, and the U.S. done went to the next phase and stuff like that.
So, Terrence, what I say to that is, it's a couple of things. Yes, Black History Month grew out of Black History Week, that I'm sure grew out of Black History Day. However, it is incumbent upon each of us as parents, as contributors to society, to tell our family story. And in telling our family story, our family stories, Black history is American history. So no, it should not be just a month, but something that my daughter recently wrote that I read and it, you know, as parents, we look for these moments of pride to know that we did something right, you know. But one of the things that she said was that Black history was taught in her home every day.
Oh yeah. Same with
that, you know, I don't rely, and my mother did not rely, and neither did the generations before us, quite evidently, because I still, you know, have that history. We don't rely on America to teach us their revisionist version of our history. Why we should, the very reason we should not is the fact that they believe that they can relegate it to a couple of people during the shortest month of the year, when it does not even begin to chronicle or detail our contributions. So, as parents, we teach them what we know. We teach our children what we know. And then what we don't know, the information is there. And so sometimes we have to dig a little. Sometimes we have to press a little. I know that at the beginning of the school year, when I would go and have the parent-teacher conferences, you know, they have them about 2 or 3 times during the year. And during the very first part of the year, I went for one of my children, and the teacher was quite impressed. She said she has read every book in this classroom. And I looked at that teacher very unimpressed. And I said, so what's your plan? Because this is October.
Oh, yeah.
And if you haven't held her attention past October, what's your plan? So we have to become active participants in our children's education. The information that we don't know about our history, seek it out when and where you can. The public libraries are still wonderful places for families. If you want to do your family history research, you can begin there in a public library. They have, quite often, there are children's rooms where, I guess, depending on, as I stop and think about the state of our American affairs, depending upon the places that you live, that would have been the best resource and most economical resource. But in many cases now, our libraries have been assaulted. However, give it a go and find books and articles that are by Black people, about Black people, which is a very important thing. As I look at the books on my shelf right now, and the concerted effort that I made to buy books that told the story of our people by our people. I can remember sitting on our coffee table as a little girl, J.A. Rogers, the 1,000 Amazing Facts about Black people. And so those kinds of things where we are thinking, quite often, we're thinking that this is making no inroads. This book has been sitting here and this child has never looked at it. Not so. Not so. Sometimes we don't have to beat them over the head. Sometimes we don't have to, just continually grind it in them, but seize opportunities. When you pull up to that stoplight, make sure that they know that it was a black man that in them. When they go to Dunbar High School, that is just that's not just a name, but that is a poet laureate who was the first generation out of slavery. And it is because of Paul Dunbar that we have the literal voice of the slaves. Had he not, and he's been criticized for it so often, but had he not written in that dialect, the tongue of his mother, the tongue of his father, what would be, where would be any record of the language of the slaves, the wobblings of their infancy, of our Black American dialects and languages are within Paul Dunbar's poetry. So there are little things like that we can do to plant nuggets of curiosity within our children, and then wait for those nuggets to blossom.
All right, y'all. We're going to just take a little time out. We're going to listen to some good music. Hey, but we'll be right back. And the Poetry Corner be coming up real shortly, so stay tuned for that right here on the T Corner. Brought to you by T-Line Beats Production. Enjoy. Hey y'all, let me tell you about a podcast that's taking life by storm. Yo, the podcast name is called Stick to the Script with Angel and Naniqua. They are going to have you rolling from all the different topics that they be covering, yo. So hey, and you may even see me on there a couple of times or two. But yeah, we act a fool, we have a good time, and the only requirement that we ask of you is that you be yourself and chill with us. So yeah, stick to the script on all providers that do podcasting. So yeah, tune in and support y'all. Salute.
I'm right here for you. I can't let you go. Keep me close to you, because I need you so. here for you. I can't let you go. Keep me close to you, because I need you so. I'm right here for you.
Tune in to Talk with Nell on all providers. And let me tell you, she brings you the scoop. So yeah, please listen to Talk with Nell. And y'all, show her some support, alright? Salute. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, alright. We're going to get you right back to the last part of the interview, right here on the T Corner, brought to you by T Line Beats Production. Enjoy. Ma'am, you done said a mouthful on that statement.
My passion, as you can see, my passion.
Oh yes, indeed. And you know what the funniest thing about this whole thing is? I did not know that a black man made the stoplights until I was in college.
Right.
That should tell you something about what they teaching us from elementary to high school. I mean, it's like they leaving a whole lot of stuff out. So when you go to college, and college is pretty much like, you know what, we gonna tell you a little bit more of the truth. And you like, yo, how come y'all could not teach us this back when we was in elementary and junior high and high school?
And so from that, you know that we do not rely on they.
Yeah.
That this is, you know, this is something that we have to do. In telling our family story and perpetuating the history for generations, one of the things that I will say that we probably have done well is incorporating the children in knowing and understanding this family story. As I do this work to write the family story, to create the foundation, to produce the podcast, as I do this work, my sister Carolyn is on the front lines. And on Saturday, she had all of Charity's littlest children, all of, you know, the grands and the great nieces and nephews at her home, where they celebrated Kwanzaa, where they told the family story again. So it is those things that keep your family histories and traditions alive.
And that's in a world that's starting to become untraditional. Actually, it's already untraditional. And it's just good to see, like, our traditions still carrying on in some light, because it should be more, but it's so many of us that's still blind, if you feel me. And we see the truth in front of us, but we still ignorant to understanding the answer. So that's why when I became of age and stuff, and you know, I started reading and stuff. I started reading like real deep books, you know, from all different kinds of African American writers and stuff like that, and realizing that, you know, what they was teaching us in from elementary to high school, even in college, that was pretty much like how I say the top 100s. They didn't want to tell you about the foundation or the understanding or how to overcome and stuff. I didn't learn that until I started reading from us.
You know, something that's been missing from the school systems the past probably couple of decades are civics classes. and I will not say when, but when I graduated from high school, one of the requirements was that you had to take a civics and social problems class. What that taught us were the basic constructs of the American government. It from the preamble to the Constitution to how a bill became a law. Social problems taught you how to become civically and socially engaged, and to take that engagement to the next level, to the legislative level. I think it's by design that those classes, those requirements for high school have been removed from our systems across the country. Those and what that did was, of course, it was the roadmap for civic engagement. And it also, I believe that it also helped the electorate understand when and how and the likelihood of an election being stolen. I mean, it's just not, when I think about the concept of that having even flown 20, 30 years ago, the way the understanding 40 years ago, I guess now, the way people routinely understood how our government worked, I don't think that type of con would have gone over at all.
Oh, yeah.
And it amazes me that so many people are and continue to be duped by it.
And you know what? When I saw that, when I like me and my family, I'm like, yo, just like your family, you know, we had one person that was telling the family history and, you know, making sure that we won't forget. And that person is now passed on, you know, and with the Lord. But we have a backup plan, and you know, as long as you have a backup plan, the legacy will continue on.
Yes.
But to deal with like the duking of the plan, I'm gonna be honest with you. I saw that sucker coming a mile away. I was like this.
Mm-hmm.
I know y'all not about to do what I think you about to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I even told my dad when everything was starting up, I said, you know what, this is about to be some real funny stuff, not in a good way.
Right.
Because those that actually understand the laws of government and they actually understand how the government works, you can sit back and just see everything going on like you a general and stuff. And like, I know y'all not about to do what I think y'all about to do. You know we see you, right?
Right. You know that there are cameras everywhere.
I'm like, goodness
Yeah.
gracious. But, yo, hey, somehow it happened. I was like this, you know what? I think this is written in the Bible, in the Quran, in Buddha. Like, I think this moment right here is written down on all regions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all was very predictable for this one.
Well, it literally brought the country to the precipice,
Yeah.
and we will see if the American experiment sustains.
Yeah, and I'm like, and the funniest thing is, like, there's so many, like, African Americans saw it, Asians saw it, Latinos saw it. It was like, yo, they not doing what we think they doing, right? Oh, hell no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's bad when you seeing this stuff happen a mile away, and you're like, yo, am I gonna step in and stop it? Like, yo, that's how I feel. I was like,
I will always remember the Capitol police officer that helped a woman down the Capitol steps by the arm.
exactly.
And, yeah, being a black woman in America all my life, I can't imagine having had that type of encounter with law enforcement on during that type of event. But yeah, so, but that's a whole nother show, baby.
Yeah. That's a whole like I said, that would divert the whole structure of the show. We will. You know, black folks, we was like, hey, did some.
I know.
If that was us, it'd be like St. Valentine's Massacre or something.
Mm-hmm. I can't. I shudder to think.
Yeah.
Shudder to. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another topic for another day because that's a 3-hour show right there.
In and of itself, yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, indeed. But yeah, and another thing I wanted to talk to you about was like you had a question on there that actually had me actually thinking about this, the monetization of Black History Month. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking about McDonald's. Mm-hmm. I started thinking about, Walmart. Who else was it? Oh yeah, can't forget about State Farm because they always had to buy you classic.
Okay.
So those are the top 3 I could actually remember. But when it comes around Black History Month, it's like, oh, hey, we a proud sponsor of, black people. I'm like, that's what I feel like they saying to me. I'm like,
and what we as a community have to begin to do is to hold these companies accountable for that. Because in many cases, the only people that are benefiting from their Black History buys are the media companies.
Oh yeah.
Because when and how do these initiatives trickle down into the Black community? Now, there are companies who are doing wonderful things that extend beyond the month to help Black entrepreneurs. And I'm not going to name drop because, ain't nobody putting nothing in my pocket. But there are companies that are doing good things. But, I think probably never before in history have we had to be so interactive with our dollars. And little things like, I appreciate Walmart acknowledging Black History Month, but there are other things that I think that Walmart could do to further Black causes that begin with very simply treating your employees better.
I was getting to, right?
And so. But not to call Walmart out on this because many companies do this. They seize the opportunity, and I truly appreciate it because, and it's a double-edged sword, Terrence, because the reason I appreciate them doing it is because many of these ads begin to humanize Black families. For many of us, we are, not many of us, but Black men and women are demonized in many cases within the media in ways that are overt and ways that are subtle. So when I see positive images of Black families gathering, of Black families celebrating their Afrocentricity, I celebrate that too because I know that when they look at my 10-year-old girl and my 10-year-old boy, that they see a woman and they see a man in many cases. And so it is through this media lens, these positive images that these companies are sponsoring, that we can begin to perhaps make inroads in what I think is quite often a pervasive elevation of white supremacy that is subliminally affecting our media. So yes, it's a double-edged sword. The monetization of it, yeah, it's happening, and let's be sure the companies that we patronize include our local Black businesses, our and as well as hold these national companies to account that, yes, we appreciate your ad dollars, but we'd like to see some foundations established within our Black communities that can really begin to effect some change. One of the things that I have found within our family archives is that we've got letters and correspondence from national Black thinkers who were working with local Black leaders to exact change around the country. And I think so often that people see these national efforts and don't understand that in the past, and once again, I guess that goes back to what you were saying about our the relevance of history. But because it is within that we can build on what we are doing today, and seeing what those initiatives were in the past and the things that worked, the things that didn't, augment them for today's World Wide Web, for today's social media, for its positive. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, but there are things that we can do as consumers, is being active consumers, hold those large stakeholders, those large companies account, patronize local businesses. Remember that these are local small businesses, and quite often we want to hold them to the standard of a national business, and this is just a sister with a boutique. Understanding that, and elevate our businesses when and where we can. And that is Black history, and that is celebrating Black history, not just the monetization of it during the month of February, but there beyond.
Oh yeah, and you literally gave the perfect answer, because you are right. We are being like seen as in a different light, and yes, we need to see more positive. I ain't gonna lie to you. When I saw Ariel was Black in the live action, I ain't gonna lie to you. I got happy.
Yeah.
And now I'm asking for a Princess and the Frog live action, because I know for a fact she gotta be Black. Because come on, let's be real. No white person ain't gonna take the word Tiana.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's a Black name right there.
Okay.
But no.
Hey, I agree with you. I tuned up. I got a little, teary eyed. Yeah, Terrence, we are so used to being vilified, and yeah.
But yeah,
nice to be a prince.
This time we're not playing a cricket time. We're not like seeing our women being, downgraded just to win Oscars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not seeing none of this. We ain't seeing like the shoot 'em up, bang bang. We actually seeing something that majority of us grew up with. Like I was born in the mid '80s and lived all the '90s. So I grew up with the original Little Mermaid. Was there for the whole nostalgia and stuff. But now I'm older and I'm seeing the change in the perception that was once this man that I grew up in, and starting to favor somebody like me. And I'm like, yo, that took a lot of bold guts for y'all to turn Little Mermaid to us. Yo, I mean, that's what shocked me, because I didn't see that coming.
And the blowback from it, have you heard it?
Oh yeah, I saw the ugliness of America. Yeah, I'm like, okay, I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I like this. All y'all talking all that noise, but she actually singing that for real.
the talent that was brought to the role, the raw talent that was brought to that role.
Exactly. I'm like, can you do that? Since you're talking all this noise, let's go right here, step on the mic.
Mm-hmm. Here you go.
That's how I was raised to handle a bully, because that's all. Like, anybody that downgrades another nationality because of the color of their skin, that's just a bully.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, he said like this, son, you know how you be the bully? You be a bully at his own game. You be like this, so you hated me because of this. Is the reason why you hated me because of this is because you want to be like this? And you just leave them there thinking. Because now you done messed up their whole brain and their whole logic of why they hating on you. I'm like, yo, and this man didn't even go to college. He went to high school and took care of his family, but he gave me the deepest knowledge that I ever heard from anybody, including in college.
And I think that that is also part of the wisdom of family history, is that you get some PhD knowledge about yourself. And
for him to spread that to his son,
yes,
he saw his son going down the same road that he did. It was like, yo, no, I don't want you to do that, son. No, this is how you gonna do it. Whenever they try to attack you, you attack them with knowledge. Like, oh, so you hated me because you wanna be like me. Okay, cool. Later. And you just leave them there thinking. And, that worked. And, there was sometimes when, when my dad sit down, if they throw the first swing, son, you have all rights and privileges from me to whoop their butt. I said, okay, I need to hear that, Dad.
Also, so you were one of those kids. I had a kid like that as well, and I would often shudder because all of his exchanges with school administration began with "my mama said," and so one day they called my husband rather than calling me to come to school and handle things. And so I wouldn't let my husband go. I told him, "Thank you, sweetheart, for calling me." I said, "But I'm on my way," because very clearly they did not want to hear what Mama said. But it becomes a I don't want to say constant battle, because we are in a cooperative arrangement with our educators. We should be. But we do have to advocate for our children. We just do. And I think it also, Terrence, goes back to what we were talking about earlier, representation. Because of the lack of positive representation, sometimes teachers simply don't understand our children. And confidence is misinterpreted as being aggressive and loud. I was at a PTA meeting one time, and the teacher was describing a group of young ladies who were coming down the stairs at lunchtime. And I let her finish the description, and I had to laugh out loud because I told her, I said, "I know who you're talking about." I said, "You perfectly described my child, but let me explain this to you. She is not loud. She is confident." And that is the continued advocacy that we have to have for our children. Give them other words to describe her, because now if she were a shrinking violet, I'm sure you wouldn't hear her coming.
Exactly.
But she is confident and happy. So that's what you hear. So it is that type of interactive, and I call them opportunities. I call them opportunities because sometimes they have existed in these worlds that don't include much interaction with anyone other than looks like people that look like them. And that goes both ways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that goes both ways.
Cause I told somebody, I told a close friend of mine, I said, man, do you know I'm more nervous in the suburbs than I am in the hood?
I agree with you. Yes.
Cause in the neighborhood, I'm around my people. I'm like, yo, okay, we know, okay, they get buck wild, okay, just leave them be. Okay, we gonna stand over here.
Right.
We understand our people.
Exactly.
But yeah, when you go in the suburbs, everybody quiet and stuff. I'm like, no, I don't feel right here. I don't hear no good music.
It is environments that we don't understand, and I think that it goes both ways, and I am sure that well, you know, we've been black our lives, so yes, we do know that it is by design that you know, that keeping us separate is by design. Some years ago, I was looking for a new producer for one of my radio shows. And so I was speaking to a young lady about coming and producing the show. And she had to leave because she had forgotten to turn off the pot on the stove. And I said, "What's cooking?" And she said, "Pinto beans." And I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, pinto beans." And I think she had a ham hock in it, Terrence. And I said, "Huh?" Now, this is a white one. So I am immediately transfixed. Like, what do you know about pinto beans? I said, "So what you having with it?" She said, "A pan of cornbread."
Oh, wait, hold on. That's South. That's South.
And so I was like, okay. Well, needless to say, she got the job. Because, and it was the right choice, because I say to folks all the time, I'm not going to be your only black friend. Okay.
Exactly.
Because if you don't know no more black people, then let me tell you, you don't want to know me. Don't start with me. Don't start with me. You can do better.
I feel you on that one. No, that's why I'm laughing, because I'm like this. Yeah, all my white friends got other black friends too. Yeah. I'm the wrong first one, bro. I'm the wrong first one. I'll tell you some history that you haven't even read about. Be like, nah, bro, you ain't gonna read this right here. Here you go. You want to know the true meaning of slavery? There you go. I know it's dark. I know it's evil. Yeah.
You know what? It is dark, Terrence. It is evil. And one of the things that I try to do with the Legacy of Charity's Children is tell our story without sensationalizing black trauma. I think that is a nuance that requires black people at the table. I think that when we read and see work, we can tell it's evident what the amount of black input that was permitted in the writer's room. So one of the things that I attempt to be cognizant of is telling the story in a way that does not sensationalize black trauma. However, there are no shortcuts to the truth. We have a show coming up. I think it is our 5th episode, that is the story of the attacks on Dayton's Africatown. Africatown was a thriving canal community in Dayton, Ohio in the 1830s. This is in the midst of slavery. And so you got to keep listening. I'm not going to give it too much away. You got to keep listening. But in our episode 5, we tell the story of the events that led up to and including the attack on Africa Town. And in telling the story, it was necessary to chronicle what had been written about the attacks. But we just were very careful in how we presented it so that we did not continue to sensationalize Black trauma. To this day, I have not seen the George Floyd video. I am the mother, sister, aunt, child of a Black man, and I will not watch this man. I will not watch his purposeful demise in that way, his murder. But understanding that the story has to be told. It is incumbent upon us as Black writers, as Black creators, to use everything within us to tell these stories in a way that does not continue to sensationalize our Black violence and our Black trauma, our Black post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh yeah, because I like when I actually looked at that, I was like this. I don't want to even look at that no more. And you right. We in order to tell the story, like I grew up with this saying, half a truth is a whole lie.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna do what Mel Gibson did with Passion of the Christ, and I'm really gonna show you some real stuff. Like, yo, by the time you get done watching my movie, yeah, tears gonna be in your eyes, cause that was your great granddad. Like, yo, okay, now you understand why you need to not say them words or something. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But, one of the things that I currently am exploring and embracing is the term descendant of American slaves to describe who I am. The American slave trade was the most brutal, and sexually violent of any of the slave trades across the Americas. I think that we have, as a people, existed for so many generations in this trauma, and our decision making is based on trauma. As we, our humor is based in our trauma. Any other situation, any other people's, it would be acknowledged that we are experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder. That as we turn guns on each other within our community, it is a manifestation of PTSD. Absolutely. And the mental health crisis that Black men are experiencing, that Black people are currently experiencing, is a manifestation of us having lived generationally in trauma. And a trauma that is not only is it not acknowledged, but a trauma that is denied. A trauma that we are told we have no right to. It is impossible. Any psychologist will tell you that your healing is stagnated by that lack of understanding and acceptance of what agreement that you've been wounded.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we are.
Oh yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, we at the point in the show right now where we talk about like how would they be able to reach out to you and talk to you and get more information about charities, children, and stuff like that. This is what I call the credentials.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay. Please go to our website, charitieskchildren.org. Also look for us on wherever you get your podcast. The Legacy of Charities Children, Episode 1, which is our mission statement, is currently out. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but our second episode, which begins to tell the family story, that episode, I believe, is out on the 12th of January. So please go to charitieskchildren.org, find out more about the Charities Children Project, find out more about our Legacy of Charities Children. The short story podcast series, season 1, is currently underway. And as far as looking for information about how to reach out to me or our publicist, LaChris Brody Robinson Jordan, it is there on the website, charitieskchildren.org.
Okay, y'all, there you have it. So until next time, this is Terrence the Spoken. Sign out. One love, one dream. Until next time, y'all stay blessed.